Tonight on Public Affairs, the story of Captain Buttons. He was the golden idol of the small screen, adored by women, envied by men, until his appearance became erratic and disheveled. Then, he was accused of killing his wife. 10 years ago, he disappeared without a trace. Tonight we ask, whatever happened to Captain Buttons?
Doctor Who.
Doctor Who?
Yeah.
And the name of the doctor is?
Who?
The Doctor.
Who?
The Doctor.
Who?
Now just tell me the name of the guy who is the Doctor.
You just said who?
The Doctor?
Doctor Who.
Doctor Who?
Captain Buttons was born in Toronto, an orphan. He was left at a laundromat. The owner took him in and raised him. It wasn't an easy life for the solitary sock in one of Toronto's roughest neighborhoods. From an early age, comedy was an outlet for his troubles. His biographer explains.
Look for work or more food or something to drink, and people would just pick on him, right? Because he's just the way he looked.
Childhood? He didn't have any childhood. He grew up in a laundromat, for God's sake.
High school kids would tease him and bother him.
I met him at a pool hall down in Roncy. He was cleaning cue balls.
Gangs and people living on the street would bother him, so when I would talk to him, he'd try to make comedy out of it.
But he was funny. Kid was funny.
Right, to get it out of his system. It just came about one day that he would try to do a live comedy show.
I'd like to take you all home with me, but I took last night's audience home, and I live in a drawer.
But he was sharp. He was a sharp kid. Had talent, a lot of talent. But a little off.
Some credit Buttons' comedic partner to the duo's skyrocketing fame.
What comedy bar was it? I think it was the Laugh In. We met after a show that he was doing. He was doing some brilliant stuff. Bigger is Better Malone. He actually introduced me to him.
Sure, the Laugh In, they didn't want him. In those days, there was a lot of prejudice. But I got him to take a look at him. I said, look, I got this kid. I think he's good. So hold me a favor. So he said, fine. So he brought him in on a weekend. Fill her in for somebody who didn't show up. He had about 5-10 minutes. Wasn't very long. But he was good. The audience laughed, so they kept him. They said, come in next week.
What do you get when you cross a frog and another frog?
A double frog.
Yeah, that's right, a double frog. Hey, thanks for coming, everyone.
And that's basically how we started.
And then we get in there, and sure enough, it's Buttons and his partner. Like, the place was crowded, and there were like journalists on my left, journalists on my right.
We had so much material. He was producing so much material. Like, he was only doing 5-10% of the stuff he was writing.
And then bang.
When we return, now with some success, Captain Buttons sets out to become a household name.
Radio was dead. And he had a face for radio, so I wasn't too sure about the television.
After a while, he just was like, I gotta be on every TV set in this country.
The duo, now a comedy hit, set out to make television history.
Because all we were doing is hitting comedy bar after comedy bar, and, great times.
I knew, what was his name? He used to run CBS. They called him the Smiling Cobra. Anyway, he was now over at UBC. And they needed a new show. They wanted something like the Beverly Hillbillies or, Mr. Ed, but they couldn't find anything.
We were thinking movies, and he's like, no, I gotta be on every television set. We gotta do a show.
I happened to be having lunch with him one day. All the man ever ate was pork and beans. And I said, what about a sock? I said, it's not a talking horse, but it might be as good. And they had an 8:30 slot on, I think it was Tuesdays. And he said, all right, we'll give it a shot.
The Captain Buttons show debuted on UBC on September 21st, 1974. Deep in the city lurks a sock. A sock on a quest for justice. This sock seeks the wicked and the sinful. For only the penumbra knows what evil lies in the hearts of humans. Thursday, 6:15. I was working late at the office. I had a hot date, but she would have to wait. The dust and cockroaches needed some company, when suddenly a round of gunfire shot through the window. I said when suddenly a round of gunfire shot through the window. I said when... Ladies and gentlemen, UBC is proud to present the Captain Button Show, starring Captain Buttons.
Nobody thought it would work. Nobody thought it would run. We said, all right, fine. We'll give it a 10-shot run, see how it goes.
You are about to enter a place of illogical action, paranoia, and the munchies. This is the hip zone.
I couldn't believe it when they came out on the stage, the applause they got the first time. Amazing. They had to like start again because the applause just went on forever.
Captain, log, stardate. Oh, it doesn't matter. I ate my crew. Oh, I can't believe it.
He's a great influence. You know, kids love him, adults love him, old people love him.
Spock is gone. Sulu, I was hungry in an hour.
You know, it's just you can't talk about comedy without knowing him. You know, he's a staple.
Ah, you missed, Booth. Didn't think you had it in ya. Ah.
Crossed all cultural divides. He had no color. He had no gender. Everyone liked him.
I don't know, his comedy made people feel good. It took the people out of their shell, right?
When we return, breaking every record and with more money and power than the sock knew what to do with, his life begins to take a curious spiral downward.
Drugs. Yeah, everyone wants to know about the drugs.
He was unraveling, literally, in front of my eyes.
I felt like I was gonna lose him, and I lost him.
With the show now a success, and Captain Buttons on the road to immortality, he dove deeper into his addiction.
Sven noticed it first.
Season 1, I guess halfway through, after production, we'd get together and, you know, we just partied a bit.
In the early days of his drugs, it's kind of like his stardom got huge, got caught up with the wrong people.
It's funny, he started to get famous and then he started to fall apart at the same time. Sad.
We had to step in around season 4. We tried to get him some help, and he just denied everything.
Oh my God, what didn't he take? Benzodrine,
Lots of codeine in the beginning.
Marijuana,
Morphine,
ecstasy,
and not let into the cocaine.
the Coca-Cola Classic,
Midol in a pinch,
the Diet Cocaine.
digoxin,
There was Diet Cocaine. You know there's Diet Cocaine?
amphetamine.
Acid,
God, he took enough acid to burn a hole through a battleship.
mushrooms.
Didn't matter what. You name it, he took it.
During the 5th season, Buttons marries Mary Potter, a local barfly. Together they dove deeper into drugs, and some blame Mary for Buttons' downfall.
A floozy. Oh, worst. They should never ever have even laid eyes on that woman.
She was just a harlot.
I met her and I thought, she's bad news, but would he listen? He was smitten.
Nah, she was in it for the money.
I visited less often.
She just kind of dug her nails into him and wouldn't let go.
Oh, they fought all the time. I mean, my lord, you could hear them in the dressing room with the door closed. It was insane.
At the end of the last season, Sven Abbotsford was abruptly fired for trying to get help for Captain Buttons.
It just, you know when people say stab in the heart? You know that expression? You know that feeling? It felt as close as I can get to actually being stabbed in the heart. And in the back as well. Just stabbed all over.
With the rigors of television behind him, and 2 successful movies in the can, The sock's life seemed perfect to the unsuspecting public. Unfortunately, he could not escape his demons.
I mean, it was great that he was successful. Everyone wants you want your client to succeed. But at the same time, he was unraveling, literally, in front of my eyes.
Then, one night, tragedy struck. Public Affairs obtained a copy of the 911 call Buttons made after allegedly shooting his wife.
911, what's your emergency?
Oh my god. I think she's dead.
Sir, can you tell me what happened?
Oh, there's blood everywhere. Oh my god. This just the gun, man, it went off. Oh.
Sir, is there someone currently in the place? Is there danger?
Oh my god, my wife, her brains are all over the wall. Oh, what happened? I'm standing in blood.
You in immediate danger.
Oh, she's dead. No, man. Oh.
What happened?
Oh, she's dead. She got shot. Oh my god.
Who was she shot by, sir?
When we return, the now infamous mugshot, seen in newspapers and magazines around the world, turned a beloved icon into a monster overnight. Accused of killing his wife, Captain Button's trial was set to start. Jury selection had begun, and the public, in complete anger, turned on their beloved icon.
A lot of people just didn't want to be associated with him, and they just, all of his connections, I think at once, just turned their backs.
Oh my gosh, these trials, right? I started going with a few fans to the trials, and it just became too real. Like,
Do I think he could have killed his wife? Possibly. Do I think he did kill his wife? Let's put it this way. One of them was bound to die.
I'm in denial, I guess. I just don't want to believe that he would ever do something like that. And I've known him for a long time now, and I just can't see him doing that, even being a drug addict.
I don't think Captain Buttons is capable of that.
Either she killed him or he killed her. It was either or they kill each other.
During the trial, a key piece of evidence from the Crown was lost. The judge had to dismiss the case, acquitting Captain Buttons.
You're accused of something so hideous as murder of your wife. It just, his face was on every paper, murderer written across it, so people just associated him with that.
Now a recluse, Captain Button's agent tries to sway public opinion by getting him a Barbara Walters interview.
Walters wanted to talk to him, and that was fine, and so we got him in. I knew it would be difficult to get him in, but I had no idea. I mean, he had changed so much, and I hadn't seen him in a while.
I asked if he killed his wife, and it all went downhill from there. Making things worse, I asked him what kind of twee he would be.
Did you kill your ex-wife?
I don't want to talk about that.
I'm only just...
No, Barbara, no!
But I thought...
I was told that I didn't have to talk about that if I didn't want to talk about that. Okay, Barbara? Okay?
She said it was the worst interview she'd ever done. The hardest, certainly. I felt bad. She's a nice lady.
If you could be a twee, what twee would you be?
What? Tree? What kind of question is... What are you drinking? Holy, what kind of question is that? Really? You know what? This interview's over. Okay? That's it. I know what kind of tree I'd be. I'd be a tree that asked a better question than that.
During and after the trial, he got more and more defensive and destructive.
He fell from grace.
One last attempt at a comeback was made. Captain Button set out on a North American tour. The tour footage would have served as a documentary film about the comedian. However, by this point, the drugs and alcohol had taken their toll. Buttons cancels the tour and film after his first set in his hometown of Toronto.
What do you get with a frog? I'm General Buttons. Yeah, I promoted myself, you little yeah. So I haven't done this in a while. All those tacos, man.
Yeah, just a dive. A straight dive off a cliff, with no bottom.
Yeah, you suck, fool. Cough it up here.
Because I think we just couldn't carry this on any longer. It's like we were trying to carry on this spirit of the guy that we used to know, and then we realized this was it's been transformed. He's transformed into some other person.
Did you kill your wife?
No, man, I didn't kill her. Jesus, you people. Yeah.
It's hard to watch a genius disintegrate, you know.
Oh God, and the doctor was like,
When we return, now lost and broken, Captain Buttons disappears forever. Now missing, many speculate about the Sock's disappearance.
To be honest, I don't think he's still alive. I don't know how you could do what he did for all those years and still be alive. If he is alive, he's in very... I hope he's not alive.
People say he's dead. The way he was living, I wouldn't be surprised. I don't want to think he's dead.
It's been a while, so not sure if he's dead or alive. I want to hope that he is. I want to hope that he is, and maybe that he could come clear of all this.
7 years ago, Captain Buttons called Sven Abbotsford. Sven recorded the conversation.
Once, he was very he was high.
Hello? This is Sven. Buttons? Is this you? Buttons! What the hell? What's going on? Are you okay? Buttons, where are you?
I'm like falling asleep.
What does that mean? Where are you? Are you okay?
Mailbox.
Mailbox.
No one writes letters, man.
Are you high?
Paradox.
Buttons, you need to get a hold of yourself. Buttons! Buttons! Hello? 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 Buttons! Buttons! Buttons!
I think we were back in his old haunts, the neighborhood where he grew up, and he took me through it, and he said, "See that room?" And it was this dingy little small apartment, more like a closet, with a sink in it, one of the big laundry sinks. I said, "Yeah, what about it?" He goes, "That was my nursery. I grew up in that laundry sink." That was the last time I saw him. It was a shock. He just disappeared.
I loved him dearly as a friend. Naturally. That's what I'd say to him. Yeah, that I loved him dearly as a friend. I can say I still love him today, even though he's changed. I just don't want him.
Another part of me thinks he's in the cabin writing the last joke.
I don't know what I'd say to him. It's been so long. How are you, I think I'd say. Are you okay? Do you need any money?
His legacy? The inspiration of millions? Billions. I think he'll be remembered throughout the generations. I think he'll be passed on as, a good book was. He'll live forever.
Oh, we touched millions of, how many comics, how much stand-up is there today because of him?
For this guy and his story and his background, and people come up to me all the time saying they lived on the street, and when they saw his show, they thought, oh, now I have a chance.
And who knows where the Muppets would be if it wasn't for Captain Buttons. Seriously, he brought Felt out of the closet onto the stage where it belongs.
After 10 years, this investigative team could not locate the iconic sock. Some believe he is living in this storage locker on the outskirts of Hamilton. Others believe he is dead, buried in a cemetery not far from where he grew up, under an alias, for one last final stab at privacy. Whatever his location, Captain Buttons inspired a generation of comedians all over the globe. His wit, charm, and comedic genius will not soon be forgotten. If Captain Buttons is watching this, we have one thing to say. We want you to return, to take your place as an elder statesman of comedy.